will eventually receive the supreme award of Krishna. The pure devotee has no actual chance to fall down because the Supreme Godhead personally takes care of his pure devotees. Therefore, the intelligent person should take directly to the process of Krishna consciousness and happily live in the material world. He will eventually receive the supreme award of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So just give me 1 second. I'm just connecting it to Facebook and start there. Okay. We are reading this wonderful, most important verse of Bhagavad Gita. So out of 700 verses in Bhagavad Gita, every verse is important because Bhagavad Gita it's all the 700 verses are important. Out of that, 108 verses are very, very important. So if you see the top 2 verses, this verse will be in the top 2 verses actually. This and Sarvadharman Parityaja verse and the Tadvidi Pranipadena. These 3 verses are very, very most important verses. So Krishna says 4 things. Okay, engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, mad bhakta. If you remember this verse, it is easy to remember the translation. It says, man mana bhavamad bhakto. Man mana, he is saying always engage your mind in thinking of me, and mad bhakto, become my devotee. Then mat yaji. Yaji means worship, worshipping the Lord. So mat yaji means worship me. And namaskuru means offer obeisances, offer dandavat pranams, namaskarams to me. And then furthermore, he says, Mam e vaishyasi yuktvaivam atmanam matparayanaha. In this way, when you are completely absorbed in me, Krishna says the word sure, for sure, he says the word. He says, for sure, you will come to me. You know, that guarantee Krishna gives. That's very important. So these are the 4 things Krishna wants us to do. So just now we saw the chapter is entitled as the most confidential knowledge. Can we quickly go through what are the titles of all the 9 chapters so far? Can anyone quickly say the 9 chapters names? What's the first chapter's name? Title? Anyone? What is the title of the first chapter all the way through 9? Just the titles.
Observing the armies on the battlefield.
Observing the armies on the battlefield. Second?
Contents of the Gita summarized.
Yes. Third?
Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga. 4?
Transcendental knowledge.
Transcendental knowledge. 5?
Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness.
Action in Krishna consciousness. Yes. 6?
Dhyana Yoga.
Dhyana Yoga. 7?
Knowledge of the Absolute.
Knowledge of the Absolute. 8?
Attaining the Supreme.
Attaining the Supreme. And 9?
The most confidential knowledge.
The most confidential knowledge. Thank you so much. Actually, there are 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita. So we are right in the middle. You know, if you see, we are completing with the 9th chapter today. And these 18 chapters, you know, out of these 18 chapters, the middle 6 chapters are considered most important, you know, when we are going to the essence. So let's start from beginning. We all know there are 4 Vedas. Vyasadeva, you know, after getting instructions from his father, he decided, okay, he has to compile the Vedas so that people in Kali Yuga, they will be, you know, it will be easy for them to understand. So he made the Vedas into 4 categories: Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharvan. And then he wrote so many Puranas, 18 Puranas, and so many Upanishads. There are more than 1,000 Upanishads. Out of that, 108 Upanishads are considered most important. Then there are Itihasas. What are the Itihasas?
Ramayana and Mahabharata.
Ramayana and Mahabharata. Yes. Ramayana is written by
Valmiki.
And Mahabharata is written by
Vedavyas.
Vedavyas. Yes. So Vedavyas is practically given everything except this Ramayana here. So the point here is of all these Vedic knowledge, Sarvopanishato Gavo Dukta Gopal Nandanaha Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Duktham Gitamritam Hat. This Bhagavad Gita is considered the essence of all the Vedic literature, all the Upanishads. So it is just like a cow, and Krishna is the milkman who is milking the cow, and all the calves and other men, like here Arjuna is considered like a calf because when they milk, the first milk is given to the calf and then it is distributed to everyone. Similarly, first it is given to Arjuna and all the learned scholars. So it is considered dukta. It is an amazing word, sarvo barishato gavo. It is the essence of all the Vedic literatures. And furthermore, in the Gita Mahatmya, Sankaracharya says this, Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam Eko Deva Devaki Putra Eva Eko Mantra Tasya Namani Yani Karma Piyekam Tasya Namas Devasya Seva. He says very emphatically, let there be one scripture. What is that? Devaki Putra Gitam. Who is Devaki Putra? Krishna. Krishna Gitam. What is the song of Krishna? Bhagavad Gita. So let there be one book, that is Bhagavad Gita. And let there be one God, who is Devaki Putra, Krishna. Let there be one mantra, that is Krishna's holy name. Then let there be one activity, that is Krishna's service. This is his strong words, very nice words actually. So what do we understand? The essence of all Vedic literature is Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, the essence of the Vedic literature is Bhagavad Gita. The essence of Bhagavad Gita out of 18 chapters is the middle 6 chapters. And in that, the 9th chapter is the essence of all these middle 6 chapters. In fact, 9th and 10th we can say, but the 9th is most. So 9th is the essence of all these chapters. And in that 9th chapter, the essence is this particular verse. Today we are doing Manmana Bhavamat Bhakto. So how many essence? Essence of the essence of the essence of the essence. How many essence now?
4.
Okay, who can follow this trail from beginning to remember? Where did we start? All the Vedic literature, the essence is Bhagavad Gita. The essence of Bhagavad Gita is the middle 6th chapter, especially the 9th chapter. And the essence of the 9th chapter is this particular verse. So this is the most essence of the verse. And this verse appears actually twice almost. If you see 934 and also appears in 1865, the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Right before the famous verse, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Raja. Right before that, this verse appears. But the last line is different. There it is, Manmana Bhavamat Bhakto Matyajimam Namaskuru Mam Evaisyasi. Anyone knows?
Yuktavaivam.
Yuktvaivam is here. There, 1865. It is Mam Evaisyasi.
Conte.
No. Okay. Manmana Bhavan Yajimam Namaskuru. Mam Evaishasi.
Satyam te.
Satyam de
Satyam te pratijane priyosime. There, only the last line, everything else is same. He says, pratijane priyosime, because you are very dear to me. He says that, he uses the word priyosime. And sure, there also he uses the word satyam te, for sure. So essence is the same for this. Can anyone read the translation of this 1865?
Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus, you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend.
Yes. He says that, I promise you because you are my very dear friend. And rest all is the same, right? All the 4 things which Krishna says. That's why this verse is the most confidential instruction of Krishna. So basically, if we try to analyze our fortune, it is really unlimited. That means people take years and years to understand the Vedic literature. And this clarity is not there anywhere else. Bhagavad Gita clearly nails this is what Krishna wants. Just by following this, we can definitely go back to spiritual world without any doubt. These 4 things. What are the 4 things? Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer obeisances unto me. That's it. If we follow this, for sure we are going back to spiritual world. Who gives this guarantee? The Supreme Lord. So that's why this is called most confidential. Because in the previous yugas, it took so many. Still now, people, they're not very clear about God's conception. If you ask them who is God, everyone will say a different idea. And whatever they feel, that's what they think it is right. But we have to follow the scriptures, whatever the scripture says, because scriptures are apaurushaya. They don't have any human inference. But whereas we have 4 problems. I'm not talking about the 4 real problems. We have 4 defects. I'm sorry, not problems, defects I'm talking about. Does anyone know what are the 4 defects of human being? Every human being has these defects. What are the defects? We have imperfect senses. Our senses are imperfect. We have limited senses. That means, our hearing can only be from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. That's all. Anything less, we cannot. Anything more, we cannot hear. Similarly, our eyes has a range. Only within that range we can see. Beyond that, we cannot see. So similarly, every sense has a limit. So senses are limited. So limited senses, that means it is imperfect. And then because of the limited senses, what happens? We get illusioned by that. That's why many times I gave this example so many times. Many times, at least once in life, you would have done it. You would go and tap a person and realize that that's not your friend, it's somebody else. Or you would scream at a person, hey, look here. And the person turns and says, hey, I'm sorry, not you. I thought somebody else who is known to me. So this happened, right? That is illusion. Similarly, when we go on a hot summer day on the road, it appears that there is a water there on the road, but it is not water. What is that called?
Mirage.
Mirage. Yes, mirage. So it's not water really. So that is illusion. Because of that, what happened? There is tendency to commit mistakes. So imperfect senses, tendency to get illusion. Because of that, we get, we make mistakes. And because we make mistakes, there is a tendency to cheat. So imperfect senses, to be illusioned, then commit mistakes, followed by cheating propensity. These four are there in all the living entities. That's why you see even sometimes children, very little kids, they also try to sometimes say lies. You'll be surprised. How did you learn to say lie? There is little cheating propensity, in school also, the elementary school kids. Why are you late? They will say some reasons. And the teacher also knows, and the student also knows that's not the reason. There is a cheating propensity, right? So these four things are the defects of the human being. So with that, whatever humans do, that defects will translate it to what they do as well. So that's why we don't want to trust this. We want to trust something apaurushaya, which does not have any human interference. All these scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, they are from the Supreme Lord. So there is no human interference. That's why absolutely there is no fault in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In fact, Bhagavatam is called Amalam Puranam. That means no faults at all, like that. Okay. So far, so good. We are fine with this. And let's understand this verse. Okay. So Krishna said four things. Engage your mind, become my devotee, worship me, offer obeisances unto me. These four things Krishna wants us to do. By doing that, Krishna guarantees us, surely you will come to me. He uses the word that, surely you will come to me. So let's remember this. Let's try to discuss one by one. Engage our mind. This is very important for us to understand. We have asked, what is the purpose of life? Can I ask some devotees? What is the purpose of life? Okay, Ombir Prabhu, what do you think is your purpose of life?
To know my true identity and go back to Godhead.
Okay, fine. Very good. Thank you. And Tamil Vanan, would you like to answer? What is the purpose of this human life? You're on mute, Tamil Vanan.
Yeah. To realize God and attain godliness.
Wonderful. To realize God. Okay. Anyone else? Jitendra Prabhu, would you like to say what is the purpose of human life?
The human life is a human is the only person who is a intelligence. So they have to be understand the consciousness of the Godhead.
Okay.
And to understand the God.
Yeah. The first part, when you said intelligence only human has, actually animals also have intelligence. But there is a difference between humans and animals. There are four differences. Because we have the ability to inquire about higher aspects. Animals like chimpanzee, even cat also has intelligence. But human intelligence is more finer. They can inquire about the Supreme Lord. They can ask questions like, who am I? Who is God? Why people are suffering in this world? Why everybody has to suffer? There must be an end to all this suffering. I should find what is the end to the suffering. How do I kind of get rid of all the sufferings? So this only human can. So that's why humans are kept on a higher platform. Compared to all the living entities, humans are higher platform because they have this ability to inquire and ability to experience bliss, ability to make choices. ability to have determination. These 4 things only human have. That's why they have this. Only humans have this access. So it's a special access. So savai pumsam paro dharma yato bhakti radokshaja ahaituki apratihata yatma suprasidati. This is a very important verse in Bhagavatam. Sutta Goswami says this. The supreme duty, dharma of a person is by doing that activity, he can attain loving devotional service. So he must perform that activity by which he can get loving bhakti, loving devotional service unto who? Unto Krishna. And that devotional service, that bhakti is uninterrupted, unmotivated. That means it's continuous. It's not like, only on Sundays bhakti is done. No, it has to be done throughout and unmotivated. No other motives. Anyabhalashata shunyam jnana karma dhanavritam anukulyena Krishna anushilanam bhaktir uttama. Pure devotion, bhakti, pure bhakti does not have any motivation except the pure love. So let's keep that in mind. So why am I saying that? Because only if we want to remember Krishna always, only pure devotees can do. Only pure devotees who does not have any other motives, they can do pure bhakti. They can only remember Krishna always. Otherwise, we can remember Krishna here and there, but not always. But how pure devotees remember? Because they have surrendered their life completely to Krishna. What does that mean? Surrender means? Surrender means, Krishna, I am yours. You can deal with me in a way, whatever you want to. That is surrender. Surrender means I am yours and you can deal with me in the way you want to. That is complete surrender. Complete surrender means, Krishna, I am yours. That is the simple definition. And the little longer definition is, anukulyasya sankalpaha pratikulasya varjanam rakshishyat iti vishvaso goptritve varanam tata atmanikshepa karpanye tadvita sharanagati. There are 6 limbs for surrender. Accepting whatever is favorable for bhakti, rejecting whatever is not favorable, understanding that Krishna will give complete protection, and understanding that Krishna is our only maintainer, and then Atmaniksheba, complete self-surrender, and Karpanya, humility. All these 6 limbs are for surrender. Simple definition, I am yours. I am yours. When I say, I am yours, that means I will do whatever you like me to do. That is the point. Okay. We all know the gopis, right? We have told this story many times, but it is very, very inspiring to understand. The gopis, they always remember Krishna. For them, it is very difficult to forget Krishna. For us, it is very difficult to remember Krishna, but for them, it's very difficult to forget Krishna. Why? That is how their life is fully centered. They are completely surrendered to Krishna. Very beautifully, acharyas say, gopis, they are actually they sell milk products, right? Gopis, because they are in the covered community. So what they would do, they would sell milk, yogurt, ghee, and also milk sweets like peda and all those milk sweets. So they will take them to the marketplace. So when they take in a basket, and instead of saying, would you like to get some yogurt? Would you like to set ghee? Would you like to get some milk sweets? Because of their absorption in Krishna, they are completely absorbed in Krishna. Instead of saying yogurt, milk sweets, how would they say? They would say, would you like to buy Govinda? Would you like to buy Damodar? Would you like to buy Madhav? That everybody will be wondering, what are you saying? Because they are fully absorbed, they will say, like how this great Acharya says, Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nata Narayana Vasudeva, Jive Vipasvamrita Deda Deva, Jive Vipasvamrita Deda Deva, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. So they are fully absorbed. They will go, Hey Krishna, Hey Govinda, Hey Hari, Hey Murari, then Hey Vasudeva, and Hey Narayana. And then they say, please chant the nectar of these holy names. Govinda, Damodara, Madhava. In this way, you keep on chanting. Like that, they sing all the time. So whatever activity they do, they only think of Krishna and sing his glories. You remember this, right? What surrender? What does surrender means? We told this story once. Once Krishna wanted to show the glories of the gopis to the entire world. So what did he do? Once Narad Muni came to see Krishna, at that time, Krishna was feeling, he was not so well. He was feeling unwell. He was holding his head and, bending his head down. So Narad Muni asked, "Oh, Krishna, what happened? Why are you looking a little sad today? Is there any problem?" What did Krishna say? Krishna said, "Narad Muni, I have a headache today." Narad Muni was surprised. "How is that, Lord? You get headache?" He said, "Yeah, sometimes, because of there's so many things going on in the world, worldly affairs, I do get headache sometimes." So it was a joke, but Narad Muni, he understood. So Krishna wants to teach some lesson. He said, "Krishna, how can I help you?" Because Narada Muni is a pure devotee. He wants to help Krishna. Then Krishna said, "But I don't think you can fix it." He said, "What do you mean, Krishna? What is not possible for you? Please tell me. There must be a solution." Krishna said, "Okay, since you insist, I'm telling you, if you get the dust of my devotees, pure devotees, lotus feet, that means we all have leg, right? At the feet, when we walk, there must be some dust stuck onto the feet. So if you get me the dust from that lotus feet, from the feet of my devotees, I can make a paste and apply on my forehead, my headache will go away." Narad Muni was shocked. "Really? But who will give the dust?" Because what is Krishna going to do? Take the dust and make a paste and put it on his forehead. So who will be ready to give that to God? Everybody will be, saying, "My goodness, if you ask me, how can I give? Because if I give that, I will go to hell forever." So nobody will give. So Narad Muni hesitantly went around, and many devotees said, "Oh, Krishna has a headache. How can we help? Can we get some help?" He said, "No, Krishna wants only the dust from your feet." So how can I give my dust? Krishna is a supreme Lord. I'm just an ordinary person. So if I give my dust, I will go to hell forever and rot there. So nobody gave. And in this way, Narad Muni came to Vrindavan to the gopis. And he was looking tired because of traveling. It's all pastime, it's all Leela. But Narad Muni never gets tired. So the gopis came and asked, "What, Narad Muni, what happened?" He said, "There's a problem." "What is the problem? Tell me. How is Krishna doing?" "Yeah, that is the problem. Krishna has a headache." I said, "Really? Krishna has a headache? Oh, Krishna." And then they started singing Krishna's glories and said, "Please tell us, Narad Muni, how can we fix it?" Narad Muni said, "There is a way, but I don't think you'll do it." I said, "What do you mean? Tell us, what is the solution?" He said, "Then Krishna wants the dust from your feet. That's all. Come on, gopis, get ready. We all will, bring buckets of dust to Krishna so that he can be freed from headache." So all the gopis immediately came. They started scraping their feet so that they can get the dust. And some gopis, because their leg was completely pure, not without any dust, so they would go to the river Yamuna and wet their feet. When they come out, it will get muddy. I mean, it will, the mud will get stuck onto the feet, right? So then they will come and scrape and put it in a bucket. So they filled a bucket and gave it to Narad Muni and said, "Narad Muni, take it." And immediately rushed to Krishna and let Krishna apply on his forehead. Narad Muni asked, "Gopis, hold on. But do you understand the consequences?" "What consequences?" He said, "You are giving the dust from your feet. And if I apply this to Supreme Lord, you all will go to hell forever." He said, "Forget about the hell." Then literally they're saying, "Hell with the hell." Generally people say hell with you, hell with that, right? They say hell with the hell. Let the hell. He's saying, we don't care. All we want is Krishna to be happy. That's all. Even for one moment. We say this, right? One moment. One moment is not 1 second. 1 moment is 1/10 of a second. You can imagine 1 second is this. 1 moment is 1/10 of that. Even for 1 moment, if we can free Krishna from his headache, our life is successful and we are happy. No questions. Please rush and go to Krishna and give this, dust to Krishna. Let him apply on his forehead. Then when he came to Krishna and said, "Look at this, pure devotees. These gopis, they are the topmost of all. They are the highest of all pure devotees. Highest of all pure devotees is gopis. Among them, the topmost is Srimati Radharani." So we can imagine this is full surrender. What is full surrender means? I don't care what happens to me, but I want the Supreme Lord to be happy. That means there is a desire to always please Krishna. Please underline this word in your mind. There is a desire. Desire is the key in life. Desire to always please Krishna. That is the word. And Acharyas say in this verse, especially Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says it so beautifully. there are two things. Okay. The important thing here we say, whatever we do, we have to do it in such a way that we can favorably think Krishna. See the word favorably. What is favorably? Kamsa, this guy Kamsa, he was also thinking about Krishna all the time. How he was thinking? He wanted to kill Krishna. In fact, it is said Kamsa was thinking every day and night. He would sleep, suddenly he will wake up like this and Krishna, I'm going to kill you. Like that he will scream, and he will many times wake up in fear that, he will dream of Krishna killing him. And wherever he sees Krishna, suddenly he will look at the sky, it will appear that Krishna is coming there. Zoop, and he will look at his, throne, and it will appear that Krishna is sitting there. So literally he was envisioning Krishna everywhere. That means he was remembering Krishna all the time. But what was his intention? His intention was to kill Krishna. So that is unfavorable. But similarly, if you see Hiranyakashipu, he was also remembering Krishna. Hiranyaksha, he was also remembering Krishna, but unfavorably. They were envious of Krishna. But these are all some pastimes where Krishna also wanted to have that Veer Ras. Veer Ras is a chivalry. Sometimes Krishna also wanted to have, that fighting tendency is there, right? Like that is a rasa, that is a mellow. He does not have a rajogun. Krishna is completely pure. But for us, it is rajogun. For Krishna, it is a Veer Rasa. So when he wants to have that fighting rasa, one of his devotee will take the role of opponent and they will have a very tough fight. Because, many times, you all know, when a father or mother plays with the kid, most of the time children will win. That's how they make it. They make the game in such a way that let the kid win all. That is not fun actually for the kid. After some time when the kids get to the teenage, they say, it's so boring to play with you because every time you make me win. So give me a tough fight. Give me a tough fight. Why? Because in tough fight, you feel that competitive spirit, right? So when you win in competition, you feel happy. So Krishna also want to have that Veer Rasa. So that time, these people, Hiranyakashipu, all these people, they give a tough fight to Krishna. So they please him. But their pleasing, it's not considered as pure devotion. That's why you don't see. Have you ever seen pure devotee as Kamsa? Do we ever say that Krishna is Kamsa is a pure devotee? We never say. Do we ever say Hiranyakashipu is a pure devotee? No, we call him as a demon. Even though indirectly he pleased Krishna, but still we call him as a demon. So Acharyas say we must please Krishna. How? We should have the desire of wanting to please Krishna. Not pleasing Krishna in a negative way. Pleasing Krishna in favorable way. So that's why, let's understand the subtle point. It's very important. See, Kamsa, he pleased Krishna, but he was completely unfavorable. He was always envious. He always wanted to kill Krishna. But you see Yashoda Mata? Did Yashoda Mata was pleasing to Krishna all the time? No. There are times Krishna was scared of Yashoda Mata. When Yashoda Mata took the stick on her hand, Krishna was crying in fear. And who is that Krishna? Whom the fear personified fears. There is everything is a person, right? So fear also has a personified. Even that person is scared of Krishna, and he is the cause of everything. He is a supreme Lord, and he is scared of Mother Yashoda. And Mother Yashoda has a little stick. Okay? And another time, when she was feeding Krishna, the milk at the stove, we remember this famous pastime of Damodar, right? The milk was boiling in the stove, so immediately she put Krishna down. Krishna became so angry. How can you give up me and go and take care of the milk in the stove? In fact, that milk is also for Krishna only. It's a very special milk. So she doesn't want the milk to overflow and get wasted. So she ran to turn off the stove. So she kept Krishna on the floor just to go and turn off and come back and feed him again. But Krishna got angry. Correct? So after that only, that Damodar pastime happened. And sometimes Mother Yashoda will chastise Krishna. Many times Krishna would go in morning to play outside with his friends. It will become afternoon. He wouldn't come for lunch. So Mother Yashoda will come with angry tone and say, Krishna, don't you have house? Are you a street urchin? Don't you know that you should come home for lunch? So like this, Mother Yashoda would scream at him, yell at him, but all with love. Krishna, he will say to his friends, okay, friends, now I have to go because my mom is calling me for lunch. The friends will say, oh, Krishna, you want to go now for food? Okay, you go, but don't come back, okay? Because we won't let you join again in the game. So Krishna will be in a fix now, dilemma, whether to go. If he doesn't go, Mother Yashoda will be angry. If he goes, friends will get angry. Friends will say that, no, if you go, don't come back, like that. So Krishna will play for more time and Mother Yashoda will get more. See, in this way, this pastime is more sweeter actually. There is no element of material modes here. It is all love, pure love. But if you see, Mother Yashoda was not always pleasing Krishna, but it was always with a desire to please Krishna. That is the point. That's why Mother Yashoda is topmost pure devotees. Is that point clear what we are making? There is a difference between pleasing Krishna and wanting to please Krishna. Correct? Does that make sense? Kamsa was also pleasing to Krishna in a negative way. That's not our goal. That's why he's never Kamsa and never called us pure devotee. But Mother Yashoda, many times she may even chastise Krishna. Krishna will get upset. But there is a desire, wanting to please Krishna. So that is pure devotion. It is a very subtle, at the same time, deep subject matter. I hope everyone is clear on that subject. Is that okay? Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next point. So engaging. First of all, first point is always think of Krishna in a favorable way. That is the point. Always. Second one is become my devotee. We said the story. Become my devotee means always engage senses in Krishna's service. See, Krishna actually gives this presentation very systematically. 4 things he says. Think of me, become my devotee. Third one he says, worship me. Fourth one he says, offer obeisances. So it is like the highest is always think of me. If you can't do that, at least engage all your senses and do bhakti. Even that is difficult, at least worship me. Worship me in a systematic way. Even if that is difficult, at least pay obeisances. I want to ask you a question. Every one of us have been to the temple, right? All of us have been to the temple. So when you enter the temple, what is the first thing you do? Please tell me, someone.
I think it's mainly the obeisance.
Yes, obeisances. We pay the pranams, right?
Mhm.
After obeisances, what do? We go and worship the Lord, right?
Second. Mhm.
South India, what do we do? On the way itself, we buy some coconuts, some bananas, some object to worship, and we will give it to the pujari, and pujari will make a archana, right? That is worship. Is that right? Everyone does that? That's there. The practice is there. So first we say obeisances. Then what do? We worship. And then what do we do in the temple? We'll ask, is there any kainkaryam? Is there any seva we can do? Is there any service? All of us like to do service, right? Some service we want to do in the temple. So that's bhakti, full service, devotional service. And by doing all these 3, what are we doing? We are remembering Krishna. You see the systematicity? This is our culture. Our culture is so perfect that everyone, as soon as we enter the temple, pay obeisances, pay namaskarams, and then worship the Lord, sing some prayers. We will say, chant this sloka in front of the Lord, and then make a prayer. Then we do some seva in the temple. In this way, we can remember Krishna. This is how it is perfectly arranged. So that is why it is encouraged. Go to temple regularly, perform this service. So when we are talking about the second aspect, devotional service, bhakti. So imagine if you want to remember Krishna, you have to do all these 3. That is the key. If we want to remember Krishna, we need to pay obeisances regularly, and we need to worship Krishna regularly, and do service, devotional service, bhakti regularly. Bhakti means devotional service regularly. Most important devotional service in bhakti is chanting the holy names and then hearing the scriptures. In this way, by chanting and hearing, we can easily remember Krishna. That's why you remember the famous verse. Prahlad Maharaj says, 7.5.23 Srimad Bhagavatam. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Archanam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Sakyam Pada Sevanam Atma Nivedanam. All this Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. All these 9 process of devotional service. This is the first 2. You see, Shravanam and Kirtanam. Shravanam means hearing. Kirtanam means chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. By doing this, you can do Vishnu Smarana. So this is devotional service. How do we do that? By engaging all our senses. By engaging all our senses. We have 5 working senses and then 5 knowledge acquiring senses. Do you remember that? We are reading that. We just recently read in our Bhagavad Gita reading. Does anyone remember what is the 5 working senses? Knowledge acquiring. Start with knowledge acquiring senses. Jnanendriyas.
Jnanendriya, Karmendriya.
Okay, but can you say what are the Jnanendriyas? 5 Jnanendriyas? Easy to remember with face.
Face,
The eyes,
Eyes,
ears,
ears,
nose, the
mouth,
taste,
the
and
tongue,
then
skin,
and then
skin.
touch. Yeah, skin. Correct. Easy to remember. Okay, these are Jnanendriyas. And then Karmendriyas. The acting senses.
Hand, leg,
Can
Yes,
you
hand, legs,
mouth,
and
speech.
speech
Speech, and then genitals and anus.
in it?
Working senses. So basically what we are saying is we have to engage all our mind, body, senses, everything in Krishna's service. We engage our eyes in Krishna's service by seeing Krishna's form. How do we engage nose in Krishna's service? By smelling the flower or tulsi offered to the Lord. How do we engage tongue in Krishna's service? By tasting the prasad. How do we engage our hearing? By hearing to Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. How do we engage our hands in devotional service?
Sense.
Hands.
offering,
By performing some seva at the temple. You can actually clean the temple. You can serve prasadam to devotees. Right? There are so many ways you can do hands, like cleaning the temple, or making something for the temple, doing some construction work for the temple, or doing some carpentry. All this using your hands. And legs, walking to the temple. Correct? And how do we engage our tongue?
I think singing.
In singing the glories and eating also. Both ways.
Okay, prasad. Okay.
Prasad and singing, both. So in this way, and how do we engage our head? By offering obeisances. In this way, we can engage all our senses. And even genitals, procreation. You can actually bringing children in Krishna consciousness is a service to Krishna. Right from the beginning, like we have Ishant. He is hardly 4 years and he can chant Bhagavad Gita so nicely and he loves to hear Bhagavad Gita. That's very interesting. So that means that is a very important service, engaging
Bringing children.
consciousness. So in this way, you can engage all our senses in devotional service. That is the second one. And the third one is worshipping Krishna, like chanting the verses, like Bhagavad Gita verses, then making prayers. All this come under worship, and offering flower to Krishna. All these are worshipping Krishna. So we cannot separate these two, but these are the steps. And the last one is obeisances. It is said in the culture that every time you go to temple, you pay full obeisances. Like for men, they do Dandavat Pranams, Shashtanga Namaskaram, right? And ladies do the Panchanga Namaskaram for physical reasons, actually. So what do we do that? It is said every time you pay obeisances at the temple, all the sins are removed, are finished. And you see, every temple, I think it is there in every place also, they have something called it's a flag. It's a flag. What do you call that?
Post.
Yes.
Flag post.
They have a
Kodimaram.
flag hosting. Yes, Kodimaram. That's there in most of the temples. At that place, you actually pay obeisances. You're right. You actually do your Sashtanga Namaskaram right before that. And everyone touches that and put it on their head. It is basically making that prayer. After this, I want to keep all my senses and engage all my senses in your service, Krishna. That means I don't want to think about the stock market. I don't want to think about movies. I don't want to think about sports. I don't want to think about the nasty politics goes around. I want to think only about you, Krishna. Now, this time it's only for you. That is the prayer we make, actually. That's why it is like we leave our shoes outside. It is like leaving our false ego outside. Means I may be whatever, even I may be the president of the country, but that is just a designation. So I leave that outside and come only as a devotee in front of you, Krishna. Does that make sense? So that is how we are trained, gradually. But after some time, we forget the purpose. We only remember the rituals. So many times we skip the rituals. So what do? Instead of paying obeisances, we'll just bend and touch the floor and do like this. We find shortcuts. So actually everything has a purpose. So when we follow the purpose, that's what Krishna says. These 4 things: engage your mind and think always. Always think of me. That is the first instruction. Second, performing devotional service. Third, worshipping Krishna. 4, anyone?
Namaskara. Sashtanga Namaskara.
Obeisances. Thank you. Obeisances, making, offering obeisances to Krishna. So in this way, we can definitely go to Krishna without fail. Krishna says, you will come to me surely. So what do we do by doing this? We are getting a confirmed ticket. When you get a confirmed ticket, you are allowed to board in the flight. Similarly, when you do this, Krishna gives you, take your ticket, you can come to Vaikuntha. Come on.
Right.
So that is our boarding pass. So let us take this verse very seriously and make this commitment. This one thing I want to really say it again and again. This human life is very, very rare. Very rare. And we are actually one of the minority species in the whole creation, actually speaking. In the sense, even in our own body, we have more other living entities than us. We are actually minority in our own body. We gave this example so many times, right? Human cells are only 30 trillion, but whereas the other cells, bacterial cells, other cells are other living and microorganisms, there are about approximately more than 37 trillion. So we are much less compared to them. So what to talk about so many bodies and so many other species. So among that, we are only 7.3 billion humans. And only human can have this ability to inquire higher aspects. Only humans can come together and ask, can we discuss Bhagavad Gita? We will never see a Bhagavad Gita class for a dog or a cat or a monkey. We will see only for human beings. Only human being will ask, what is the purpose of my life? Nowhere you will see an elephant coming and asking, what is the purpose of my life? Why am I suffering? They don't know that they are suffering. They only know the pain. To feel the suffering is a secondary thing, right? If they know what is suffering, they'll try to find out a way to avoid suffering. So only humans can do. So we all have achieved this human life. Unfortunately, almost all of us are in, the best of the countries, we can say. Both US and Canada, they are in top 10 always. So we are in the best of the situation. So we've been blessed with all these facilities. Why? Not for enjoying our life. It is basically to realize this human life is very rare and I want to utilize this human life in the righteous way and go back to the spiritual world. That is the purpose. The purpose is to understand who we are and re-establish our connection with God. That is what every religion says. The word yoga also means connecting with the Supreme. Connecting what? Our individual consciousness with the Supreme consciousness is called yoga. That's all. Yoga is not just exercises. Exercises is one part of yoga. Of the 8 parts, one part is the exercises. That is the asanas. So everything is to connect with the Supreme Lord. Very important. So how do we do that? By this manmana bhavamat bhakto. Just by following this verse. This one verse is enough for us to go back to spiritual world. If we follow this, for sure. So that's why, how do we remember Krishna in the conditional stage? And always by chanting the holy names. By chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, that is the easiest and at the same time, very powerful way to connect with Krishna and remember Krishna. So I request all of you, please utilize this human life so that we don't have to come back to this world. We may not know what birth we will get because we will get next body based on what we do in this life. Yesterday we discussed about, we had very nice questions. Jitendra Prabhu and Soumya, they had asked nice questions. So whatever we do, that decides what we will become in our next life. So we don't know based on our activities. We only know what exactly we did. So we don't want to take that chance. The moment we take shelter of Krishna, Krishna says, I'll finish off all your karma. That's what Sarvadharman Parityaja, he says, Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma suchaha. When you surrender, he says, I will remove all your sinful reactions. He didn't say, I will remove only 10% because you are like this, like this, like this. No, he says, when you surrender, sarva papebhyo, that means everything, all the bad reactions I'll remove. Don't fear. Ma suchaha, don't fear. Like that he says. So what do we need to do? Surrender to Krishna. That's all. So when we follow that, then how do we surrender? By following the instruction of spiritual master. That's why, when Jayanti Aunty was reading that, bona fide teacher, he is Guru. When you follow bona fide teacher, the bona fide teacher knows how to engage a disciple. He will exactly guide. First start with 1 round of chanting every day. It is just going to take only 7 minutes. Give your 7 minutes to Krishna. Take the beats and chant 108 times. And gradually he will purify and bring him up to the highest level to take him to Vaikuntha. So with that, we will conclude. I'm sorry I went a little over time, but thank you so much for your patient listening and attention. And since it is important verse, I wanted to, complete this. So thank you so much. Are there any questions?
No, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you.
So much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Sorry,
much.
we had a little bit of internet problem today. A little bit, we are okay now. Thank you.
Oh, no problem, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.